Hello folks, this is Sula once again. Welcome to another video for Teamfight Tactics. This is going to be taken from one of my ranked games, so yeah, a ranked game here instead as opposed to a normal game. And this is going to be a game where I start out playing one team composition and then we'll just try to, well, figure things out later because I figure just make it through the early and mid game, and then we'll figure out what the late game team composition is going to be. So I've had a bit of ups and downs in these ranked games. Some of them have gone really well. Some of them haven't gone so well. As you'd expect, since you're seeing this game, it's going to be a game where things work out to one extent or another, as opposed to a game where like I try something and then just ends up failing and not going anywhere. This is taken from, I'd say it's roughly like low gold matchmaking. My account was ranked at silver 1 at the time, but I believe everyone else in the game is gold, or I think there was like one silver player, and I think there was one person who was still in their placement matches who had been like platinum last season or something and had a high matchmaking rating as a result. As far as the initial carousel went, I've been starting with the chain vest and generally liking the chain vest as a starting item. For one thing, it tends not to be super contested. There seems to be more people who go for the BF swords. People who are interested in playing like Z comps go for the bows. The chain vest usually isn't that contested, and it builds into a number of items that are useful. You can make Bramble Vest for a frontliner. You can make Sunfire Cape. That's useful pretty early on. Can always be a Guardian Angel. It can also be a Locket, which is also a really nice item for the early game. So a number of different options there. As far as what I've gotten thus far, I saw that I did get an initial chosen option. Unfortunately, it was an enlightened Fiora, and that is kind of seen as being like just about the weakest chosen in the game, one of the weakest chosen options. You could previously pick up an enlightened Fiora and play it into an enlightened team composition that was based around Talon. That was very popular. I did a video on that one, but Talon was pretty thoroughly killed off by the patch version that we're on as I'm recording this, the 10.24 patch. So enlightened team compositions really aren't that much of a thing at this point in time, as I go ahead and sell some of the champs that drop to buy up some other ones on the bench. So because of that, an enlightened Fiora, not really that useful. A duelist Fiora, much more playable, but enlightened, not really so much. Not really something you'd be looking to play. So I didn't get any gold from the first 2 minion rounds, but then I did get a series of champions after that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some of the gold that I picked up to go ahead and level here, and then I'm going to make a Locket. Locket won't scale great into the end game, but it will be useful here in the early game, give that extra health shield. I do make a mistake in the positioning. Note that Vayne is not going to get the Locket shield here. It extends 2 tiles out from the person who's holding the item. But I feel like I definitely need to make use of something because I have no chosen, and I'm just playing all 1-star units here. Like I have 2 sharpshooters, 2 brawlers, but I have no 2-star units here and no chosen. Now that Locket is going to end up making a difference because if you notice, the Tom Kench and the Silas are both going to get really low in this fight, but they don't quite die, and that provides just enough time for the sharpshooters to finish things off. I'm pretty sure if I don't use the Locket that I lose that initial round, and it's always nice to get off to a good start. Now, up to this point in time, I've just been doing just kind of generic, 2 sharpshooters, 2 brawlers, but I'm sitting here and thinking, I was like, it wouldn't be the worst thing to try to, like, if I could get a Jarvan here, I'd play Warlords with, like, the Nidalee and the Garen. But I was looking at what I'd rolled here, and I was like, I've got this Pike on my bench. I see a Kali popped up. Is that better than a 1-star Vayne and a 1-star Nidalee? I was like, I think it is. So let's go ahead and play the Assassins instead. And like this is a setup that I typically don't play as much. I don't play through Assassins quite as much. But I just feel like having the Pike and the Akali, which are a 2-cost unit and a 3-cost unit respectively, I feel like that's better than playing the 1-cost Nidalee and the 1-cost Vayne. And they will get the Assassin trait in play because I just have the Akali. I'm going to get the Ninja trait in play, which is going to give Akali extra attack damage and extra spell power since there's just 1 ninja in play. So I feel like that's better, and I win that round pretty thoroughly right there. Now, it didn't hurt me to hold the extra units on my bench for that round. I have 6 gold on my bench right now. It's a lot of unspent gold. So it didn't hurt me to hold them right there, but now I do kind of have to make a decision about this. Am I going to look to play through sharpshooters, or am I going to look to play through the assassins that I've picked up? And I need to make that decision now because I want to get over the 10 gold threshold. I don't want to sit here with all these units on my bench. I currently have, let's see, that's 7 gold. I currently have 10 gold sitting on my bench, and that's just too much to have in a situation like this. So I was looking at what some of the other team comps were playing, and I've decided ultimately, you know what? I'm going to sell the Garens, I'm going to sell the Nidalees, I can sell the Vanes, and I'm just going to look to play through these assassins here early on. So it would be really nice if I could find some other units to complement them, but I think this is what we're going to go with for right now. And that gets me to 10 gold. I've got 2 out of 3 Akalis, 2 out of 3 Tom Kenches, and this is just kind of what I'm playing through here. I'm still hoping I'm going to find a useful Chosen, and that I'll be able to play through that, but as I said, I didn't want the Enlightened Fiora, and hopefully I'll have a chance to get some other stuff that's useful. Now we do have a carousel here, and I have won all 3 of the initial rounds, which is always great. You love to get out to that early, fast start, get that extra income pumping in, so that I'm level 4 and have 10 gold in the bank. As far as items here, I have a tier on my bench. I think in retrospect, the item to take here was another tier to make blue buff because Akali uses blue quite well, and I am playing through the Akali. Ultimately, though, I decide not to go that route. I pick up the chain vest here, and I think that this was not the worst decision because I can make a frozen heart with this, which is not a terrible item, but I think that going the blue buff route would have been better because it would cause Akali to cast a lot more often. But instead, I am going to look to sell the Katarina. I did at least get a 3-cost unit off the carousel, and that's important because that's going to get me up to 20 gold, which is going to get me to the next income breakpoint. Because I was able to sell that unit for 3 gold. So economically, I'm looking pretty strong here. My comp is honestly not that good. I have no Chosen. I have no 2-star units. So I really don't have a whole lot here. But I've got a lot of money, and I'm not going to level here because what would I put in? Like, I could always just like buy Lux and toss in a random Lux or toss in another Akali, but I don't really have a great unit to put in. So I'm going to rely on just sitting there at 20 gold, hoping that if I lose, it's going to be a relatively close loss. I'm up against a Moonlight composition here. Someone who's actually playing Moonlight 5, I believe. They have a Moonlight Diana and a Moonlight Lysandra and a Moonlight version of Aphelios as well. So a lot of Moonlight units. And that Frozen Heart's actually doing a lot of work. I was hoping that Pipe could kill off one more unit here, but unfortunately he turns and attacks Lysandra. I think he could have killed the Silas if he had hit Silas. So I end up losing, but 4 damage is not that bad to lose here. And now we're going to have just one more round before we hit the minions. Again, I could level here, but there's not really a whole lot for me to put in. I am going to pick up the Katarina, though, largely because it gives me another assassin option. One of the limitations of playing someone like Akali... Oh, and I also pick up the Callista because that gives me a cultist option. I would love to go into 3 cultists here if I can, I'd love to go to 5 and pick up cultists if there's an option to do that. Or ultimately, I could look to, I could always sell the Akali and then put in Katarina instead to maintain assassins. And that could be useful if, for example, I want to play another ninja, like if I wanted to play Kennen for Keeper. So this was just giving me some additional options. It didn't cost me anything to hold them on the bench here. We are up against a Divine team composition. They've got the Jax, they have the double Wukongs. Again, I still have no 2-star units and no Chosen, so these rounds are really tough for me to win, and I am going to lose that one as well. But to make it through the first 5 rounds and only lose 10 health, considering that I had, again, no 2-star units and no Chosens, that's pretty good. And then I finally do get a useful Chosen. I get the Annie with Fortune as her chosen ability. So that will cause Annie to count for 2 Fortune units, and she will allow me to get Fortune in play alongside the Tahm Kench. Generally speaking, I don't really like to play Fortune that often. It's kind of inherently risky. I don't like the fact that it gives you no combat stats. I will generally avoid it unless things just perfectly get set up for Fortune. And this is a situation where that was the case. The Fortune Chosen on a useful unit too, because one of the things I need right now is I need stronger kind of frontline, tanky units that can stand there and absorb damage. And Annie can kind of do that. And then I also get another big hit as I hit the Akali 2-star, and that's finally going to give me some power. So we've upgraded in strength by quite a bit here. Now I'm also looking at how I can upgrade this, and I've just got 2 brawlers that don't have anything else on there. I was like, you know what? Let's get rid of the brawlers. I'll put in Jinx to maintain fortune, and then I'll put in Teemo so I can get sharpshooter in play. This will let me move the locket over to the Annie, so she will continue providing that locket extra health for everybody in the area. And now the idea is Pike and Akali will jump in the back lines and start killing people. Pike in particular can hopefully get his Frozen Heart slow off on that. Like right there, they managed to pop that enemy Lux before she gets to cast, which is fantastic. Annie is just sitting there tanking, and then Jinx is providing CC, and Teemo's providing damage. And mostly they're just there to try to buy some time for Akali to do the work because she's a 2-star unit. She's going to be doing the most damage. And again, it would be nice if I had gotten a blue buff for her. That would have significantly powered up Akali, and I'm sure I could find someone to put blue on later. I do make a mistake here. I should sell the Callista just to get over the next income threshold. But I end up sticking at 29 because I still wasn't sure if I was going to go into Cultist or not. So I'm feeling much stronger here. I get another big hit as I hit 2-star Pike, and now I actually have something that's pretty decent here. With the 2-star Pike and the 2-star Akali, they're going to output a pretty good amount of damage. Pike hopefully can slow. I'm hoping that I can have him jump on backline carries and get that really nice attack speed slow off the Frozen Heart. And then we'll just look to roll through this and make use of the extra fortune income. Annie will not be in the composition until the end of the game. She will get sold later on. But she's good for right now. I'm hoping I can play her at least through stage 3, and then we'll see on stage 4 whether it's worthwhile to keep her or not. We're up against a cultist team composition. Akali's going to get stunned, but Pike is right there, slowing the nearby enemies. Jinx is still alive, and we're looking pretty good here. So it looks like we're going to be able to win this. And I'm back up to a win streak. I'm now going to look to sell the Callista because I see I can get to 40 gold. And we're in good shape economically now. I'm still at 90 health. Some of the other comps have lost quite a bit more health at this point. I believe I've only lost I've lost 2 rounds. I won 3 and then I lost 2, and now I've won 2. This is one of the things you can't always control when you're on like how your streaks line up, but I've been having them line up well. 3 wins, 2 losses, now 2 wins. Much better than going win-loss, 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 where you don't get the extra gold income. So I could look to level to 6 here, but again, I don't have another clear unit to put in. I'm holding the Katarina's because I would just toss her in, and of course she gives me another fortune option. I could always look to play her and then take out the Jinx if I wanted to. I would really, really like to get some Keeper units in, just because Keeper units are very strong in the current meta. Jarvan in particular is a really good unit right now. But I haven't seen any Jarvans pop up. I haven't seen any Kennons pop up either. So I'm just going to make use of what I've got here and hope that what I have is strong enough to continue to make do here. It looks like we're doing a pretty good job. We weren't able to stop the Katarina from ulting, but Akali's still alive. She does by far the most damage. Pike's doing pretty respectable damage too. Even though Jinx got popped at the start of the fight, we're still looking pretty solid here. One of the things I've tried to do is, since I don't know what my late game comp is going to be, I've been trying to get just general use items as opposed to something that's very specific to one team composition. Again, I've also been having very late carousel priorities, so I don't get much of a choice. But out of the items I can see here, I would definitely like to get the Giant's Belt, because then I could make a Zerat portal. That's always going to be useful for a frontliner. There's always going to be some use out of that. So out of the items that are here, I think that that's the most useful one. Unfortunately, it's on the other side of the carousel, and it looks like the other player's going to take it, but then no. That player ends up going for, what was it, the tier? The other item that was off there on the right. So I somewhat surprisingly end up getting a very useful item that's going to help out my team comp quite a bit. So I'm going to look to level here. I actually have enough income that I can level, and it doesn't cost me anything. So we will make Zerat on Annie. This will allow her to frontline a little bit better. I know she's way in the back, but she's basically frontlining for me. And then I can put in another unit here. Again, I'm holding Kennen in case I have an opportunity to play Keeper, but I can't really play him here because that would get me to 2 ninjas as opposed to 1. And, Akali would lose her attack damage and spell power bonus if I were to put Kennen in. So I'll hold on to him for the opportunity to maybe play Keeper later. It doesn't really cost me anything to hold on to him, at least not for this round. And we'll put in the Katarina. Now, I don't expect Kat to do all that much, but, she's another unit that gets the Assassin bonus. And that way, if she does get an ult off, she's going to do a lot of damage with it. It's just more, can she get that ult off? Even though she has no items, she's not going to be that useful. But overall, we're still looking pretty good here. Looks like we're going to win this round as well. Still sitting at 90 health and with max income. Level 6 with a 4-match winning streak and with 50 gold in the bank. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. The one thing that I'm not 100. Oh, and here's another ninja. I see Shen. I'll definitely pick him up to hold on to later. And you can see the fortune gold that's just feeding me extra income on all these rounds. Again, I can't play Shen because I've got Akali in, but sooner or later I'll want to play Shen almost certainly because he's got such useful traits. As I said, I was feeling good about my comp. The one thing I wasn't feeling good about was I wasn't sure where this team comp was going. I was like, where am I going? I don't know what team comp this turns into in the late game because this is going to fall apart eventually. Like I can't just play these units. I'm going to have to upgrade to better stuff. And I was at the time I was just thinking, I was like, I'll figure it out later, I guess. Like we'll figure it out. We'll try to get to higher levels, and we'll see how long we can run the ante. Get to higher levels. Look for another chosen. Maybe we can look to find like a 4-cost chosen, or if we can get to level 9, maybe even a legendary chosen, which would be fantastic. But hopefully, looks like we're going to win this round, extend that win streak all throughout stage 6, and then just try to take the money I've made and put it into leveling as fast as possible. You can see I've been able to stack up a significant health advantage as compared to these other players. I'm quite a ways ahead of most of the other players. I'm, like 30 health ahead. And that's going to be important later on because that gives me a much better chance to be greedy and try to get to level 9. Here I see the Talon pop up in the shop, and I'm going to go ahead and pick up the Assassin buff. Now, Assassin 4 is not really a thing in this game. Like, there just aren't 4 good Assassins in the game right now, because in order to get up to 4 Assassins, unless you get an Assassin chosen, you're either going to be playing Talon, who was nerfed into uselessness, or you're going to be playing Diana, who is typically not very good unless you're going into a Moonlight composition. So, again, 4 Assassins really not a thing. It's just based on the units I had here, it was the best way to take advantage of the units I had. And there's another Talon. Maybe I can make Talon 2-star here. Poor Talon. Such a sad leftover shell of his former self when he was such a dominant unit for such a long time. Well, anyway, I've got more items here. I do want to make use of them. There's a couple different options I could make here. Ultimately, I decided I did want to make the Infinity Edge, and that meant that if I was going to make Infinity Edge, I was going to have to make Morellos on someone else. I didn't really have a good user of the Morellos. Maybe it should have gone on the Katarina. She's probably the best user. But the Katarina is only a 1-star unit, so ultimately I decided to slap it on the Pike, in part to give him the extra health, but also because he will apply the Morello's debuff when he dashes, so he has a chance to hit multiple units. Again, it's not the best use of this item. He's kind of holding on to it for someone else making use of Morello's later on down the road. Now, he is getting the healing debuff on that Aphelios, who's healing, and the Diana with her Gunblade, so a lot of healing on that enemy team, but unfortunately, he comes up just barely short of killing that Aphelios. And oh, can Jinx do it? It's really close, but nope. Bloodthirster healing kicks in. Not quite enough to finish that off. So a little bit unfortunate in that round. But hey, one nice thing about Fortune, I do still have that in. If I'm able to win after losing a round, I'll just get a little bit more income. I just have to make sure I can cash that out. So I'm still holding the Fortune for now. I don't want to sell the Annie Chosen. I would like to get to level 8 before I sell that. The problem is you can see a number of these other comps are making units and getting stronger. In particular, that Moonlight team composition now has 3-star Lysandra, 3-star Diana, and 2-star Aphelios. So if that comp ever manages to 3-star the Aphelios, there's going to be 3 different units that are 4-starred, and that's a little bit scary. The nice thing, though, is I managed to hit the weakest player in the lobby. This player, there's H's in their name. They are level 7, they have no money left. They are in deep, deep trouble in this lobby, and this is going to give me an opportunity to get a Fortune cash out. Not much of a loss streak, just 1 match loss, but it does mean I'll be able to get that extra income. And no, not quite enough damage to eliminate them. But that was a timely round against that person, because now I'm going to get a little bit of extra money. I do also 2-star the Katarina, which is kind of interesting, and I see Aurelia pop up. It's like, all right, well, Aurelia, Shen, we're holding a fair amount of money on the bench, but this will give me an opportunity to go and play into these units long term. I'm thinking that no matter what comp I'm playing, I can almost certainly manage to fit a Shen and an Aurelia into it. And then I'm holding on to the Kennen because that gives me a chance, to still play Keeper. It does cost me a little bit to hold Kennen on the bench, but Keeper's very strong right now. There's always the opportunity that I might get like an early Azir, and then I could look to go into the Keeper or find Riven or something like that. So that's why I'm holding that unit. And, Talon's there because maybe I managed to make Talon 2-star, which would be useful for right now. This team composition is playing through that Jhin in the corner, and the big issue is I just wasn't able to get anyone onto the Jhin, and the Jhin just kept healing off of that Bloodthirster as well. So ultimately, we follow backline. The Assassin's not able to kill the backline, so I end up losing that round. as well. And now you can see, since I've been losing some of these rounds, I've kind of dropped back into the middle of the pack as far as health. Well, I guess not. I'm still tops on health, which is actually bad for carousel priority, but I'm still happy. I'd rather have 74 health than have like 50 at this stage of the game. More health is always good. As far as what to take off carousel, there's a Yone right there with a Brawler's Glove. I mean, I've got Shen and Aurelia on my bench, so it's like, yes, please. I would love to get that Yone. And amazingly, no one is grabbing the Yone off this carousel. I'm like, oh my god, am I actually going to get this? Like, is someone actually going to let me get this? The Yone's coming right towards me. I was like, oh my god, but no, not quite. Not quite. If I'd had 6 less health, maybe, but not able to get it there. So here, I wasn't sure what to grab. I just grabbed the tier, in part because I was looking for a unit that I could sell. I ended up, though, I think in retrospect, I should have taken the Talon because that would have made 2-star Talon. And even though it would even though it would put an item that's not very useful on Talon in the form of that Negatron Cloak, I still think it would have been better because Talon's not staying in this comp long term. Like, I knew that at the time. I think I should have just taken the 2-star Talon. I can always find a use for a Negatron Cloak somewhere on some item down the road. And that would have made me a little bit stronger in the short term and make it easier to make it a little bit easier to try and, once again, just make it through these next rounds. I just want to make it through these next 2 PvP rounds to the end of stage 4, and then I want to get to level 8, sell Annie, and then look for a new Chosen and go from there. But I have to make it through 2 more rounds, and I really would like to cash out Fortune one more time, but I have to win a round to do that. And this person, who's already got Nazir in their comp, along with Riven, looks like they were playing Keeper 4, I believe. This doesn't look like the round I'm going to get that cash out on. Katarina gets off a pretty nice ult, but she wasn't in the middle of the enemy team. I'd been positioning on the left-hand side because more people had been putting their carries on the left-hand side. But this person had their carries on the right-hand side. My assassins do not get on top of the Callista and the Azir, and so I lose that round. So here, another nice bit of luck right here in the form of finding that early Zillion at 1% odds. That's always nice to see. So what am I going to do? I'm going to take out the Talon, if I remember correctly, and I'm going to play the Zillion for sure, and I'm going to play the Eve. That gets me Cultist, and I was like, wait a minute, there's one more minion round. There's one more round here. I want to cash out on Fortune if I can. So let's level to 8 a little bit early here. It's slightly expensive to do this, but if I can get the cash out on Fortune, it's definitely going to be worth it. So put Cat back in. We're at Assassin 3 instead of Assassin 4, but whatever. We've picked up Cultist, and we've picked up a Zillion, who, of course, is a legendary unit. It's just going to be fantastic to have. So I'm really, really hoping I can win this round. I am, again, fortunate in who I'm up against. I am hitting the weakest person in the lobby. Vinsmock, I have no idea what this person's doing in terms of their economy. Like, they are at 14 health, but they have max gold. Like, if you're getting that low, you need to spend your gold. I don't know what this person's waiting for. So we just need to kill that Xin Zhao, who's got the Bloodthirster. Pretty good items for Xin Zhao. It's a good thing that this player only had a 1-star version of Xin Zhao, because I don't know if I could have killed that if it was 2-starred. But we knock that person down to 1 HP, and I get my Fortune cash out, which is fantastic. Now I can look to sell the Annie. I even get an item out of this, which is great. Don't get that much gold, but I get the item. So now I'm going to have to, now comes the hardest part of the game. Now I need to figure out what the heck I'm going to play. It is no longer a case of figure it out later. It's now a case of figuring it out right now. So I'm going to have to roll here. I'm hoping that I can find a Chosen that'll be useful. But like while I'm sitting here on this minion round, I'm like, all right, let's see. What are we going to look to find here? We've got the pieces for a composition that could be pretty good, but it's going to depend on what we get when we roll here at level 8, and I definitely need to roll. My comp is not strong enough. People are going to be hitting key stuff, so we need to look to find stuff. So I see Aatrox, that's useful. I see a set, that's great. I do miss an Aurelia there. I was tempted by the Callista, but no, I don't really want to play Duelist. Again, I'm not playing a Hunter comp as much as Kindred's a bit tempting too. There's 2-star Shen, so we definitely going to play that. Take out the Katarina, that gets Mystic in play. I'll put the Zerat on Shen. Now I see Riven, and I see a Cassiopeia. Again, the Ahri, a little bit tempting, but I don't really have the setup to play that team composition. So again, I'm still trying to figure this out. Haven't quite figured it out yet. I really should have just tossed in the set, if nothing else. And then here I spot double Ezreal. So I was like, okay, well, you know, Ezreal, another legendary unit. We can look to play that. I'm just trying to free up spots on my bench so I can carry these units. I'm not even watching the fight, which is fortunately going pretty well right now. But I wasn't really watching that. Like, I can go down to 2 sharpshooters. I don't need Teemo, so I'm going to be selling Teemo. and replacing him with some other units. I also have an extra cultist, so I can sell one of my cultists and still maintain cultists in here. I also have 2 ninjas. You might have noticed that I have both Shen and Akali in the comp, which is bad because they don't, but they no longer get that ninja's bonus. So I'm gonna have to sell one of them, and it's gonna be Akali as I transition out of assassins. Like Pike is still gonna stay in the comp with cultist, and there I'm gonna hit the Aurelia 2-star. So I didn't get punished for going past that Aurelia earlier. So looking for other stuff, and I really should pick up the Lee Sin, but I don't think I do that here. So we're going to put in Ezreal, and I would really like to. I still have an extra cultist, so we're going to take Eve out and put in the set. So now I've got 3 legendary units in the comp. They're all 1-star units, but this feels a lot better. I have 3 cultists. I've now made 2 adept. I have another Ezreal on the bench, so I've got a shot at making 2-star Ez. And out of these items that I have here, ultimately I decide I think I want the rapid fire cannon. And then even though that leaves me with a second Frozen Heart, which is a little bit suboptimal, it's not ideal. Really don't need 2. Really don't need 2 of them, but I think that that's the best way to make use of the 2 bows that I have here. So this is turning into kind of a close match. I do still have Set doing push-ups on the bench. I'm hoping that he will be enough in order to take out these last remaining units. I also do have the Chrono Shift from Zillion on my Jhin there. So we are going to win that round, and even though I didn't feel like I had really made my comp yet, this is, like I said, kind of low gold, so it's a bit more forgiving than it would be higher up on the ladder. So I'm actually able to win those 2 rounds, even though, like I said, I didn't feel like I had really made my comp yet. So I do, now what I'm going to do is now I feel like I've stabilized enough with the fact that I have the most health in the lobby. I feel like I've stabilized enough to get to the point where I can get to level 9. So I'm going to try to greed my way through this. I'm going to try to get to level 9 and just roll a bit more at 9. Like I said, this is greedy, but I did win the last 2 rounds. There's 6 players in the lobby. I'm going to be trading some health here in exchange for hopefully some econ, stay over 50 gold. I think that I just need to make it through 3 more rounds. If I can make it to the next minion round at the end of stage 5, I'm pretty confident that I'll be able to get to level 9. I still do not have a Chosen, so I have the chance if I can get to level 9, maybe I can find a legendary Chosen. This fight is looking reasonably good. The issue is I just need to get to those damage dealers in the back lines. And I'm also not sure I have an answer for this Riven that's on the enemy team here. 2-star Riven has pretty good Riven items. The Bramble Vest and Quicksilver in particular are pretty good. But unfortunately, I don't quite manage to kill the backline, and I do take a fair amount of damage there. So that wasn't great. But like I said, I only need to get through 2 more rounds to get to another minion round. Here, I was looking at what was there. I was thinking maybe the set that would only get me 1 away from set 2-star, and Duelist, I could probably put something else in the comp. I could always put like Lee Sin in to make Duelist. That would be useful. But that's gone before I get to take an action. And out of what's left over, I think the most useful thing is Last Whisper. I'll put that on Jhin. And then the long-term plan is to get the Infinity Edge off of Jinx, move it over to Jhin. Infinity Edge not really a good item on Jinx. She was just the person who could best use that item. So we'll put this on Jhin, and then now we just need to find a chance to transfer that item over from the Jinx over to the Jhin. But I'm still not quite there. I also note that I'm also not getting max value out of my locket. Right now, only 3 units are getting it. That's also bad. I was having to spend a lot of time thinking about my team composition. Between Ezreal and Azir, it wasn't entirely clear to me which one of them would be better, but I thought maybe the Azir is better just because he has the Sand Soldiers to put in to give a tiny bit more in the way of frontline protection. But I'm still just, like I said, still trying to figure this out, trying to see what units I can hit for 2 stars and what units are still going to be sitting there with 1 star. If I could win this round, I could probably knock this player out of the game. If Set can get off a nice ult, ooh, he does get off a nice ult. There's a lot of Zerat minions sitting there, and Jhin is just on a tiny bit of health. Does he have enough to finish this off? No, not quite. That close. But at least I only take 9 damage, and that's good news because it allows me to avoid... I've lost these last 2 rounds, but I haven't taken that much damage because they've been relatively close losses. I've taken about 10 per round the last 2. So now, again, all I need to do is just get through this round. I was looking for what other comps were out there. I really, really would like to win this round so that I can just avoid taking more damage. If I can get to level 9 with 40 health left and enough gold that I can roll a bit at level 9, I'm feeling like this could be a pretty good match, but a loss here would be bad because I would maybe only be down to like 1 more life. Like if I'm down at 25 health, then I'm down to like 1 or at most 2 more lives. So a win here would really be nice against this player. Anyway, things are holding up well. A really nice Azir ultimate. We've got a lot of people chrono shifted. So even though this comp has a number of 3-star units, it's a duelist team composition, we're looking pretty good here. And it looks like we've just outscaled that comp, which is only level 7 and just has no money in the bank, and also doesn't appear to have any legendary units. Right there, we get another big hit in the sense of finding Yone. Yone seems to be very overpowered in this patch. I'll go ahead and put the Frozen Heart on him. He'll dash into the middle of the enemy team and apply that. Really should probably have had the Frozen Heart on someone already. With the way he works in this patch, he shreds anyone who he hits. Shreds their armor and magic resistance by 90%, which is ridiculous. So yes, I'll play that, and he also makes 3 Adept. So if there's any way in the world I can get up to a 2-star version of that Yone, I'll be feeling really good when paired with the Shen and paired with the Aurelia. I also do manage to get a Dragon's Claw, and now we're going to 9, and now we need to roll here, and we need to look what we can find. Well, there's another Yone, and there's another Jhin. I was like, oh, I need to clear room on my bench. I need to find more room to put champions in. So I go ahead and roll for that, and now I've got another set and another one of these units. So I sell the Ribbon, and I do actually have a slot in the game, so I toss in Azir, and now I'm going to 2-star the set, and that's really nice, and that's as much as rolling as I was able to get done. So still not quite there. You may notice I picked up the Vayne. The logic is if I can sell the Jinx, I need another Sharpshooter to put in for Jhin, and I could toss in the Jinx because that would give me a chance to make Dusk, which would be nice to splash with the rest of my team here. Unfortunately, this round's not going well at all. I'm actually getting crushed pretty badly here. Set does get off a nice dunk, but I mean, is this going to be enough? It's just down to Set, and no, it's not going to be enough. But at least he was able to kill a number of units and knock that down to only a 16 health loss. So we find another Zilean. And here, I finally realized I should play the Aatrox, in part because he's a better unit than Pyke, but also mostly because now I can transfer these items off of the Pyke. So I'm going to look to put the Morelos onto Set, so his dunks are more powerful, and then I'll just put the Frozen Heart on a front liner. There's another Zilean, and now we got to keep rolling. And then I see a Fortune Sharpshooter, a Sharpshooter Jinx. I was like, all right, this is great. Now I can get Jinx 2 back in. I can move that item over to the Jhin. And I'm rolling here, and I really should pick up the Lee Sin here as well. Now I don't need that Vayne, but we were able to get up to 2-star Set, which is really nice. And if I can just find one more Jhin, I'd be feeling really good. We still have Cultist in there. Unfortunately, Jhin gets pulled by the enemy team's Aatrox, which is not good. But Set, oh my god, that ultimate from Set hits the entire enemy team, does so much damage. Now, can we buy enough time for him to get back up? And Yone's going to ult, so he just shredded all the resistances on the enemy team. So if Set can get off another ult here, remember, they had all their armor and MR destroyed by Yone. So come on, Set, come on. Oh, but he's getting very low. Is this going to be enough? Come on. Oh, no. That was close. Whew. So 11,000 damage for Set, and we actually knocked that player out. A very intense, very intense competition there. So that was the biggest round of the game right there, because I would have gone down to I don't know, maybe like 10 health if I had lost that. Instead, I knock a player out. I'm guaranteed top 4. I get just a monster roll there as I go ahead and hit the 2-star Zilean, and I hit the 2-star Yone. Just an amazing roll for me right there. Again, this is why it helps to be level 9. Most of the other players in the game are 8, so I have access to the legendaries. At much higher odds than anyone else, and now I'm starting to 2-star a bunch of these legendary units. Unfortunately, a tremendous stun hits my team, and like a Jinx Rocket like stunned my entire team, and that meant that most of my damage was held off for a long time. But Zilean ults are coming through here. Is it going to be enough, though? Do I have enough left over here? Well, Jhin died, but he was revived, and the Jinx died, but she was revived, but it is just up to Set again, and the GAs were in effect on that other team too, so no, it's not enough. And now you see why winning that last round was so important. I would have been out of the game if I'd lost that previous round. I mean, I would have finished in 3rd, which is not terrible or anything. But instead, I still got a chance here. I've got 1 life left, and I'm hoping that I can do this. Really, what killed me in that last fight was just a Jinx Rocket stunned my entire team for like 3 seconds. All of my key units got stunned. And hey, looky what we have here on our carousel. It's our favorite item. It's a Zephyr. I was like, you know what? A Zephyr seems like it would be pretty useful against some of these other team comps. Now, I've taken Ezreal out of my team comp. I decided to put the Lee Sin in and like, look, here's all the Ezreals now that I'm not playing him. I think that Lee was better to put in because it made Divine for Aurelia, and now I'm just rolling here to see if I can find anything else. Nope, but maybe we'll be able to find the 2-star version of the Azir. So I'm going to reposition here. I like my comp. I'm holding the Zephyr. I'm going to look at the other team comps, and I see, aha, there's a 3-star version of an Aphelios off in the right top left corner. So let's put that Zephyr on, and boop! Yeah, wow, that's a 4-star unit. Boy, it sure seems like that would be a bad unit to have get Zephyred out of the fight. That would be awful inconvenient for your Moonlight team comp. And then my little Lee Sin, 1-star, decides he's going to kick he's going to kick the 4-star Moonlight units right out of the playing field. So, yeah, I'm actually able to win that round. And yeah, Lee Sin, handy unit to have splashed into your comp, even at 1-star, because he's always got that chance to just kick out a top unit on the enemy team. I actually had a 2-star Chosen Kane in one of my games recently. And like a 2-star Chosen Kane with just amazing items. I was like, all right, there's no way I can lose. Well, I actually come in second place because a little 1-star Lee Sin kicked him out and like the last round. And I was like, what the heck? How did I lose this? So anyway, I could be up against either of these two comps. I'm going to position to Zephyr that Aphelios once again. I think that that's the most important thing I can do. I end up getting the other player instead, MLX Gab or whatever. And by the way, I don't know if you've noticed this. This player has double Force of Natures on his team composition. Yeah, he's got multiple Force of Natures over there. He's actually playing 11 units with 3 Force of Natures. What the heck? So this fight's looking not so great, but Jhin is going to revive. Thank you, Zillion. And now he is getting off his attacks and sets back from working out there on the sidelines, and we end up winning this one. Note that Jhin is the carry that time, almost 9,000 damage. So the other player got knocked out, the player who was running the Moonlight team composition. But yeah, look at that triple Force of Nature. Yeah, Fortune 6 team composition, 11 units. What the heck? But the problem with that team comp is Fortune does not provide combat stats. So he's got a ton of items. He's got a lot of champions. But his only traits are Sharpshooter, Brawler, Duelist. So the team comp is maybe not as fearsome as the 11 units might make it look like. Here we're going to get another really handy item for the late game. We're going to get another Zephyr, and that's just fantastic. I will make use of double Zephyrs here. So I'm going to put one up on the front line with Shen, and that'll knock out one of those frontline units. Here I'm rolling to see if I can 2-star anything. I'm looking to 2-star maybe the Lee Sin. That would be nice. I think everything else is 2-starred at this point. I've been able to, and then the Azir, I end up passing on that because I don't want to play the Azir. But more important it is to roll because this whoever wins this round is going to win the game. So I'm going to position the Zephyr out that 3-star Tom Kench. And then I wanted the Zephyr out of these targets. There's a Trap Claw and Quicksilver on some of the main carries, but I'm going to try to go for the Katarina that's 3-star. I don't end up getting that because this player repositions. I get the Kane, but that's not that bad instead. So this is what all comes down to. Who can win this particular match? So once again, good start. Yone gets off a good ult. Shen was able to get a taunt off in the back line. Zillion's chrono shifting people. And it looks like we've gotten onto the Jhin. There goes Yone again. We are taking out the Tom Kench. And this composition has completely fallen apart for that other team. So we easily win this round. And that's going to be a first place finish with a comp that I was very happy with at the end. So figure it out later. Well, it looks like I did in this particular game. Obviously had a lot of RNG going well at right times, but overall it worked out. And hey, look at this, promoted to Gold 4. Yay! So hooray. I know that that's maybe not a big achievement for a lot of people, but it did mean a fair bit to me just to be able to say that I could make it up to gold. And look, the interface can't even display all the champions for that person who came in second. Well, anyway, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I wanted to showcase how I transitioned from not knowing what my comp would be into something that ended up working pretty well. So until next time, take care. Hope you guys are doing well and have a great week.